In our previous episode, we treated police brutality and remedies in Nigeria, where we also attempted a simple definition on what brutality is and also expanded on the rights of the citizens and how those rights can be protected. Welcome again once more to a fresh episode of Law and You, where we throw light into shady areas that seem to bring confusion or bring controversies on our minds. And discussing this vital topic, because we're going to be having the part 2 of what we left off last week, which is police brutality and remedies in Nigeria. And of course, this program is brought to you courtesy of Noah Attorneys, a firm of legal practitioners based in Benin City in Nigeria. We always tell you that as we go ahead in the conversation, it's expected that you pan out questions, issues of concern on the numbers that will be riding on the screen, and we'll be bringing that on the screen for you to interact or react to us. My name is Philip Omo Gyupo, and discussing this with me, like I earlier said, I've not forgotten that, is a legal practitioner, Emmanuel Obakbolo. Thanks for coming, Emmanuel.
It's a pleasure being here.
I must thank you once again, because you've always dealt in total of issues that seem to be of great concern to the viewers. But let's look at police brutality, because we had some big show last week about it and what brutality is all about. And let's attempt the legal framework of the Constitution, what it provides as per protecting the rights of the citizenry against police brutality and torture.
Yeah, the Constitution is the grown-up, and the Nigerian police force is a creation of the Constitution, the extant Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, particularly in section 214, subsection 1.
All right.
It does provide for the Nigerian police force. And also, if you consider the Criminal Procedure Code, which is operational in the northern part of Nigeria, and the Criminal Procedure Act, which is also operational in other parts of Nigeria, it gives a legal recognition of the Nigerian police force and also the duties and rights of the Nigerian police. In fact, that law, of those laws, provides for right to investigate, right to arrest, right to prosecute, and others vested on the Nigerian police force. Then you must also consider the Extant Police Act, particularly section 4 of the Extant Police Act, that provides for police to investigate matters, particularly that has criminal flavor, and not matters that has to do with civil rights or civil wrong, as the case may be. Then the Nigerian police recognition has been given to by the judiciary, or given judicial recognition rather, in the case of Oko and University of Lagos, where Honorable Justice Onoge, as he then was, JSC as he then was, did say that the Nigerian police force is a creation of the Constitution. So you can now see that constitutionally the Nigerian police force is recognized, then judicially the Nigerian police force also is recognized. So the brutality of the police with respect to their activities, you cannot remove corruption from it, because brutality is an offshoot or a springboard of corruption. And that is why you see today many citizens are suffering or are under the police brutality. And when you consider the same Constitution that the police is a creation of, also recognizes the rights of citizens. Section 33 provides for right to life. Section 34 provides for right to dignity of person. So now, when you contravene these rights as spelled out by the Constitution, it amounts to brutality. And concern have risen, because the way the police go about their job, the constitutionality of their job, they even violate flagrantly that provision of the Constitution, wherein while trying to carry out the function of their activities or duties or rights, as the case may be, they now overstep the bounds and begin to infringe on the rights of the citizens. So, and when the rights of the citizens are infringed upon, like I did say from the outset, it becomes brutal. And that is why today we are talking so much about police brutality. And that is one thing that led to the EndSARS protest that we saw.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the way the police go about doing their duties, you begin to ask so many questions. Also, I had an experience last week, this week, Tuesday, at Olukuye. I saw the policemen holding somebody and they were dragging him, and I stopped and went closer to ask what is really the issue. Immediately they saw me, they became very hostile, and they begin to say, oh, anytime that something has to do with the Nigerian police, people will begin to gather that the car that the boy had or was driving is a stolen car. And I told the policeman, I said, officer, I didn't come to infringe on your rights, or I didn't come to usurp your job, but the way you are going about your job, that is not how it ought to be. There is a way you can persuade this young man. There is a way you can convince or confuse him so that you do the proper thing at the right time. So while I was trying to persuade them to see that I could intervene to ask the young man to follow them, they just smuggled him, bundled him, and threw him into a bus and zoomed off. That is brutality. So you can see even before the public. And that is the reason why most times when the police is doing something, even when they are doing it within the ambit of the law, you see a reaction from the general public. Because by the time 1, 2, 3, 4 cases are now happening, and the people are now seeing the people are now experiencing it, the people are now observing it, it becomes an infringement, and the people, there is cause for reaction, and the reaction may not go well. And I think that was the reason why we saw and experienced the EndSARS that took place.
Okay, quite novel that you even had a first-hand incident or case as regards police brutality on that young man. We've had cases, and as we speak, there are cases also that's going on around town in that respect. But we keep talking about the retraining of police officers, and last week we dwelt on that. And you agree with me that there has been various seminars, programs, orientation, reorientation to re-engage the minds of the police officers on how to conduct themselves in the public. But it seems there seems not to be a way out of this quagmire, of this challenge, because each time we keep seeing retraining of police officers, we expect to see this refined attitude by the police officers, whenever it comes to engagement or interaction with the people. And again, if we look at the laws, like you said, we've got laws that protect the rights of citizens to make sure that they are not victims of abuse or torture or police brutality. But again, we still have all of this happening. So what you see as a turning point for the citizens who seem not to have, a place of rest from being brutalized in this respect?
Well, to be candid, I do not see the activities of the police just now not infringing on the right of the people. I do not see it. And the reason being that corruption. Because when you are corrupt, and there is this syndrome of get rich quick, there is this syndrome of, I don't want to give my best in my job. Rather, I want to see what I can get from my job. Then there will be need to be brutal. And that is the reason and that is the experience we've had over the years. In the case of Ibikule Estate,
all right,
the Supreme Court in their wisdom did say that police brutality is a matter of concern. What happened in that case? Some persons were unjustly brutalized because the police officers as at that time were trying to ask for bribe from these citizens. And the citizens said they don't have money to bribe any person. And before you know, the police bounced on them. And they filed a fundamental right and came to court. And the court recognized the fact that the rights of these persons are being infringed upon, and that there was brutality by the police officers on these innocent citizens. So when there is corruption, as we have just now in our client, then you cannot do without brutality, police brutality. So and what the citizens, the only available remedy to the citizens just now is where they go and probably challenge the police in court and see how their rights could be enforced. But that is when that person is even alive.
Oh, okay.
Where there is death, what happens? It is the family of that person that may now come and ask for justice. So justice, the court is there to give justice. And that is when brutality has been visited upon the people. But that is when the victim is alive.
Okay.
The victim cannot enjoy the fruits of the brutality that was meted on him. But if it is otherwise, then you cannot see, just like I did say, section 33 provides for right to life, and that is sacrosanct.
Okay.
You cannot unjustly sniff life out of any person, even animal. But today we see where we see situations where they say mistaken identity. You hear of that story. You hear of the unknown soldiers. Now we are hearing of unknown policemen, unknown gunmen. You begin to hear stories, and all of these are the offshoots of corruption. Until we are able to reduce corruption to the barest minimum, we cannot stop police brutality.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Just in case you're coming across for the first time, this program is Law and You, and we are looking at police brutality and remedies in Nigeria. My name is Philip Omo-Gyukpo, and I've been speaking with Emmanuel Obakwalo, who is a legal practitioner. And just to let you know that this program is brought to you courtesy of Noah Attorneys, a firm of legal practitioners based in Benin City, Nigeria. There will be numbers writing on the screen, WhatsApp number and SMS. You can react, whatever questions you ask. We can also use that to pan out in your episode. And let's do the needful. Like I asked you that question as regards if there are ways in which we can have a turnaround from this quagmire, down activities of the police or some policemen that seem not to augur well with the citizenry. Now, we have what they call Police Complaints Response Unit, PCRU, and we also have what they call NHRC, National Human Rights Commission. Now, let's x-ray these two channels, starting with the Police Complaints Response Unit, because it's expected that when the public come across any incidents of this nature, they make complaints, and then it's expected that the police will respond to it, making sure that all of these issues, that seem to bring friction, breaches between the police and the citizenry that they serve, is minimized, if not eradicated. How is the performance of the PCRU? Although I'm not to ask you that question anyways, but you are a lawyer, you must have, been interfaced with all of this. I'm not opportune to have the big man here where I'll have to ask him, like the Inspector General of Police or the Commissioner of Police of the state. But let's have your hope now on what you've had with this committee or this group of persons that they call the PCRU. How responsive is it?
I don't think that platform is responsive. No, it is not responsive. The challenge we have here in our country is that we have tagged truth to be bitter. Truth ordinarily ought not to be bitter. Truth ought to be sweet. Sweet to hearing, sweet to perceive, sweet to listen to. But in a situation where truth is not tagged to be bitter truth, then there is a problem. By the time there is a petition to the PCRU on a particular group of police officers, you begin to see defenses, even by the platform. You see defenses defending their own. Let me tell you this for free. The challenge we have with respect to police brutality as the subject matter of this discussion is from the recruitment. When you have a situation where people pay money to be recruited into the Nigerian police, what do you anticipate? But when you call the big man up there and tell him, look, there's an allegation of money payments or monies exchanging hands during police recruitment, he will tell you it's a lie.
Which still amounts to corruption.
Yes. That's why I tell you that the whole issue of police brutality
It's embroidered in corruption.
is tied to corruption. So, when the recruitment is wrong, then what do you expect?
I think there are no stricter measures. If you say that, possibly again, for the love of heaven, let's stretch it a little bit beyond what you've said. I think there are no stricter measures that are being meted out on those who breach the act, the police officers that breach the act, that seem to, brutalize the citizens or torture them the way they do. Now, if there are deterrents that will emanate from the conduct of the police against those who engage in this misconduct, I think this will be minimized, if not eradicated.
How many of the police officers have been arrested? How many? How many cases?
In your years of practice, have you seen this engagement?
No, see, very minimal.
Because sometimes we read on papers, sometimes we
very minimal
in the news, where some will be sacked, will be removed from office, from the position. We've seen that.
Most times,
we need to see more.
Those persons that are removed from the police force, you will hear gross misconduct. Gross misconduct. What is the meaning of gross misconduct? It is that police act that defines what is gross misconduct. So, where it affects the right of a citizen, is it gross misconduct? The answer is a no. In the case I just stated,
I'm saying that there are reports wherein we've had issues of this police brutality, where we also, got to see some of these reports, even read it in the news, where some officers will be made to face disciplinary committee. But what comes out from that disciplinary action, we may not know. But we've seen reports like that. And I think this will be an opportunity for us to engage the police as regards this, so that we can have, their perception and balance the story.
Maybe when you are privileged to do that, maybe you bring a top police officer and invite me to.
Possibly in our next episode.
But I want to tell you again that few cases that have gone to court, except the cases go to court, that is when the victim can get remedy. But if the case does not go to court, absolutely nothing will come out of it. Absolutely. You will see a clear defense of the activities of the police. That's why I'm telling you that the essence, the whole story that surrounds police brutality as we have today in Nigeria is corruption.
Now let's look at a great aspect of the National Human Rights Commission with an aim of seeing how it functions to protect the rights of citizens against these abuses. Do you, in the process of your years of practice, have you interfaced and seen the performance level of this unit, of this group, in terms of attending to issues of abuses against the rights of the citizens?
I've interfaced with the National Human Rights Commission.
Okay.
In 1, 2, 3 matters, I was privileged to meet them, and after discussion with them, and to see how they could assist to do findings, I discovered something about it. No finance to even prosecute.
Oh, they don't have the wherewithal.
They don't. The personnel are not there. The finance, zero. And at the close of the day, we were advised that, counsel, go and fight for fundamental rights of your clients.
Okay, but finance seems to be the problem of everything that has to do with functionality in Nigeria.
Yes.
And why is it always so? Is it that we can start from the scratch or get something going with the little resources we have?
Don't you need money to do all of those things?
But that's where corruption comes in. That's where corruption comes in again.
Even the budget,
the big man in that office may be looking for an humongous amount before he goes into action. But again, if you are to get a job done, what stops you if you have the passion to do it? What stops you from even doing it with little resources and bringing out maximum result from it? Is it impossible?
When you tell them this, they will ask you, should they do it with their personal money? I said the last experience I had with the National Human Rights Commission, they told my client, tell your lawyer to go and file in court. See, there are so many issues. That's why at times when some of us hear the bogus budget, you begin to wonder where all these monies are going to. If at the close of the day, you are privileged to interface with some of these agencies who come with bogus budgets, and we are made to understand that those monies were released to them as they claim, and yet they cannot function properly, you begin to wonder where the monies are going to. And again, that amounts to what? Corruption. So corruption is the bane of our challenges. And that's why it appears that nothing is working. So the National Human Rights Commission needs money to function properly. Then where is the money? If you go there, you will see the National Human Rights Commission is running like a private business. Because deliberately, consciously, even the government is refusing to release money for them. So there are a lot of issues that surrounds police brutality. And the question, the germane question is, how do we watch the police brutalize the citizens? And what is the solution or remedy to curb that?
Exactly what we are looking at.
So,
because
the only way is where the victim or family of the victims can challenge that in court to enforce the rights of the victim. That is the only way.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel Obakolo, for taking the time to be part of this episode. We'll see you same time next week. It's been awesome to have you join in this episode. Till we come away again same time next week, I am Philip Omo-Gyupo. Don't forget to react to the questions or issues that you have as questions bothering you via the numbers that are writing on the screen. And it's brought to you courtesy of Noah Attorneys, a firm of legal practitioners based in Benin City, Nigeria. We'll come your way again same time next week. Bye for now.